Hi guys, and welcome to another player episode of the Chasing Pars Golf Podcast. Where in this episode, I'm joined by one-time LPGA Tour winner Alexa Pano. Alexa, all the way from Florida. First of all, how are you? And second of all, I believe we've both got a touch of the cold right now. Like we've got a cough at the minute.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely no fun, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, to be fair, like as I was saying off air, like I've had some of the best LPGA Tour players, and I'm trying to give them all a platform to share their views and experiences, whilst giving the LPGA Tour product a little bit more recognition because. I do still feel like it's a little bit underviewed at times, the LPGA Tour product, and for me that's a shame. If in any way I'm trying to help, then that's good. But yeah, so thank you very much for taking the time to come on. I do
Yeah, of
appreciate it.
course. Yeah, looking forward to it.
So, first of all, Christmas is coming up. How
hmm
how much are you looking forward to Christmas?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's definitely one of my favorite holidays, and um, living in Florida, a lot of my family from the colder states comes down here, and yeah, it's just a really good time in the off season and just kind of getting away from golf a little bit. So.
Yeah, because it was a pretty hectic season for yourself last year. I believe it's between maybe we don't have a specific number, but I think between 25 and 30 tournaments was it last year for yourself? And I was saying that over time, surely that's kind of got to take its toll on your body towards the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't take off many events last year, which I didn't have the luxury of doing the previous year. I got into basically every major, every event, and tried to play almost everything. And I think with that, I learned a lot, just kind of figuring out what works for me, um, how much I want to play, when I want to take stuff off, what courses I like, and what courses I don't. So yeah, definitely a really good learning experience.
Yeah. So how would you kind of sum up your 2024 from a personal point of view? Because um, well, you contended at a major championship. I mean, St Andrews. You were right in contention going into the final day, and a couple of other tournaments as well. You had a chance on the final day as well. Would you say, like, how would you kind of sum up your own performances and like just being in contention? It must be a great feeling for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are a lot of things I wish I could have done better this year. But I'm pretty happy with how the year went overall. I mean, I'm only a few weeks into the off season, but it feels like so far ago that we were playing at Hilton Grand Vacations and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a pretty solid year. Obviously, wish I could have gotten another win. That's always my goal, but a lot of personal victories and small victories along the way for sure.
And actually, speaking of the Grand Hilton Vacations Tournament of Champions, that is also that's obviously going to be about 2 maybe 3 weeks away. And you because of your second place, well, no, sorry, because you won in 2023,
Mm.
you get a 2 year, is that right? 2 year
Mhm.
2 year slot into the Tournament of Champions.
Right.
And then with your second place finish last year there, I take it you're looking forward to going back to that event and then obviously a place with good memories and stuff.
Yeah, Lake Nona is one of my favorite courses that we play all year on tour. Obviously, having played well there last year gives a lot of good memories going into this year, but it's just a really solid golf tournament, like getting to play with the celebrities, getting to be at Lake Nona. Hilton Grand Vacations really goes above and beyond to making it a world-class event. So I think we're all very lucky to have them as a sponsor, but also just really excited to start my year there.
And would you say like the kind of grass type at like Lake Nona was something that kind of suits your eye?
Um, I suppose, I mean, growing up playing golf in Florida, playing with a bit of grain is normally, I think, favorable for me, but I think I've never really been the type to notice a difference in grass. Growing up in South Florida, we've had a lot of grain, but I also played a lot of golf in Massachusetts, where we have a lot of bent grass, and then obviously California, where it's a little bit easier to do stuff. So it's not something that normally is a big concern of mine switching from grass types, but I think more for me, I'm just excited that it's only a couple hour drive from my house. That just makes it a little easier.
So I take it on that week, it's just like, obviously, with it being a couple of hours away, you still got the home luxuries of stuff, like as such, etc. And it's just an easy week for you.
Yeah, it's very nice being able to just pack your stuff in a car, and if you forget something, I can just go home during the week. And also having some friends come out and watch is really nice because it's not too far away. Um, yeah, it's just nice playing in the state of Florida for sure.
So about yourself. So you were actually born in Westboro, Massachusetts, but you've resided in Lake Worth Beach, Florida for a good while at least. I'm not exactly sure how long, but yeah. So what age were you when you moved to Florida?
So I've been splitting time between Massachusetts and Florida like my whole life. I'm normally here in South Florida during the winters and then up in Massachusetts during the summers. So I've always been kind of going back and forth, never really spent a winter in Massachusetts. Um, and just ended up being lucky that I live part-time in golf's area, I guess, one of the more popular areas for golf. So that was more coincidence rather than moving to Florida for golf.
So for someone like myself that isn't really too clued up on the states of America, what would you say are the major differences between, say, Massachusetts and Florida? Obviously, obviously Florida's well known. We all know that. But like, what is there like major differences between the two states?
Yeah, I think definitely Massachusetts is a bit quieter, more of a sports town. The fans there are really good. They're very supportive of anyone who's from there. You know, it being a smaller state, you get less players coming from there every year, but um, it's kind of known for its sports and hard workers. And then Florida is kind of more known on the side of like it's a bit louder, a bit more crowded, a lot more going on. And I think a lot of athletes reside here, but I wouldn't say the sports are quite as like life or death as they are in Massachusetts. We do have a lot of good sports teams here, but I feel like in Massachusetts, the people are like, it doesn't matter whether you play or like the sport, they're very interested just because it's from Massachusetts and they're very supportive of that community. So it's very different living in both places, but I say all the time constantly that I'm from my two favorite places in the world. Like I love being in Massachusetts. I love being in South Florida and I couldn't really envision myself living anywhere else.
So speaking on the subjects of sports is where you've got a very interesting sponsor in one of the most successful American football teams, like right by your side. So how did the sponsorship opportunity by the New England Patriots come about?
Yeah, that was a bit more on the random side. Obviously, being from Massachusetts, I've been a diehard fan of the Patriots since I was very little. My dad's had season tickets for about 30 years, 40 years now. And so I'm very lucky to have grown up watching the team and being a fan. Um, and then they reached out to me one week and wanted to sponsor me. And a lot of it was luck, and I'm just very lucky to be supported by them. And they've been great. I couldn't ask for a better sponsorship, and definitely one of my dream sponsorships.
So in terms of like the personnel, so it could be any of the playing staff, the managing staff, whatever, directors or whatever. Do you get to hang out with any of the kind of Patriots guys?
Um, I've gotten to meet some of the players. I go down to do stuff at the stadium from time to time. I don't get to go to as many actual games as I'd like to, just because it's difficult timing wise. But they're super great for me. Anytime I want to go to a game, they help me out. I get to go down on the field, which is super exciting. I went last December to a Chiefs game, and that was super fun. And then anytime I want to go to concerts at the stadium, anything, they're always there helping me out, getting me tickets. So very, very lucky um, that they're so willing to support me.
So sorry, just to point out that kind of cut out a little bit for like 10 seconds, but it's okay.
Oh, no
Don't worry.
worries. Okay.
No, it was just to kind of point it out. But yeah, so it's fair to say that you've got a very unique upbringing in terms of golf. So usually when I ask a player, "Oh, how did you get into the game of golf, etc." Usually it's their father, etc. And
Mhm.
so in terms of growing up in the game of golf for you, before we go into all of the popularity stuff,
Mhm.
like where did you first kind of take it up?
So, growing up, my house was on a golf course. This course called Sherbrooke Country Club. It's since closed down, but we lived on one of the holes. So, I was always kind of surrounded by golf. I played multiple different sports growing up, like soccer, softball, tennis, whatnot. Um, but I just ended up going out every day to watch my dad or some of the really good players that were in my golf course. I got to watch the Kepka brothers who were there play some golf. So I just felt really drawn to it, I think. And I ended up focusing on golf and softball for a little while. But once I started competing in golf tournaments, is when I think I really stuck to golf just because I have a very competitive nature um, and golf was always super competitive. Like you're always trying to beat the person next to you, or mainly trying to beat yourself. But at a young age, I viewed it that way. And so it kind of became clear to me that I really wanted to focus on golf. And yeah, I told my dad, and kind of the rest is history. Since I was about like 6 years old, been just playing golf and um, yeah, traveling the country doing that.
So, like I was just mentioning there about the unique nature of your upbringing in golf.
Hmm.
So, in terms of the Netflix series, The Short Game, I'm sure
Hmm.
you must be sick to death of hearing about this. To be honest, I'm not going to lie.
Hmm.
but, but in terms of the Short Game, so how did that kind of come about? Like just out of curiosity, obviously, if you haven't watched it, then go and watch it on Netflix. But in in terms of in terms of the short game, and then obviously the popularity that it gave you, the recognition that it gave you,
Hmm.
um, in terms of that, like, was there ever a point where, like, where all the focus is on you that it got a little bit tough? Like, like, how was that to kind of deal with at such an early age, at 7, I believe it was?
Yeah, I was 7 years old. I think a little bit of six when we started filming for the short game. I was super shy growing up, so for me it was actually a really good experience to kind of get me outside of like a closed bubble and get me talking to people, talking to cameras was really good. Um, and I had a really positive experience. I had a ton of fun filming the movie. Um, Afterwards, not much in my life changed. It was more just excitement, and we kind of filmed the movie with a goal in mind to inspire other kids to play golf, mainly girls, because at the time that was really important. And yeah, I think we accomplished that. So there was not really any thing negative from it for me. It was a really positive experience, just getting to film me and my friends playing golf tournament, and yeah.
Even back then for the 2012 Kids Golf World Championships,
Mhm.
like in terms of the players that were what were the players at the time that were in the movie,
Mhm.
do you still keep in touch with any of them? Or maybe if you pass them in the street or whatever, or do you ever get catch up about the short game?
Yeah, I think we're all on pretty good terms. I mean, if I saw them, I'd definitely say hi to them. Um, a lot of the kids from the movie have turned out to be great players, which is really exciting stuff. I think most of us are all still playing golf, whether it be in college or professional. And it's really exciting. I think it turned out really good, and I think that's a good thing to see is kids who played in the same kind of events that maybe kids now are playing in, seeing how we continued with it and are making careers out of it or even playing in Division 1 college golf is a really good thing to see. So I'm really proud of everyone who was a part of the experience and are going on to do great things.
And also in your junior career, you ended up being a three-time national finalist of the dry chip and putt. Um, did you know at an early age did you feel, sorry, at that early age that you had potentially the game to be a star, like as it turned out in the junior career?
Um, I mean, I think at that age, I didn't really know what was going on. I was just kind of experiencing things. I was very young. Um, the drive gym putt was one of the best experiences I had in my career, and I think when you're like 7 to 12, you're just kind of having fun and um, being at Augusta National, being in awe and experiencing things, and that's kind of where my head was at with those events.
Yeah. And later on, you'd also compete in the inaugural Augusta National Women's Amateur
Hmm.
Championship in 2019. Like,
Yeah.
going back to Augusta, like even back then, was it like do you still get like what's the word I'm trying to say? Do you still get like starstruck as such, like in terms of going back to like Augusta even back then?
Yeah, definitely. I think every time I go back to Augusta, I'm kind of like shocked by it. They never fail to outdo themselves. Um, the event is just heads and tails above everything else. They don't leave any stone unturned. They treat us like queens for the whole week, and I wish that I could experience that again. I hope one day there's another version of it for professional players, but I'm just so lucky to have experienced that as an amateur and have so many memories at Augusta National that I don't think that I could have ever dreamed of having. I mean, telling people that I've been there, how many times I've been, is something most people don't get to experience in a lifetime. So I'm very blessed to have those experiences.
And in terms of the ANWA in general, like since 2019, it's like every year it seems to go up and up and up and up.
Mhm.
Like obviously yourself being a part of the inaugural one in 2019, like does that fill you with a sense of pride as such, like seeing like the game getting bigger and bigger and bigger since you since you kind of participated in the first one as such?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every year you're seeing an incredible golfer win, and it kind of, I think, really can jumpstart a career. Like I've seen the past couple winners have gone on to be some of the best golfers in the amateur game, but sometimes people don't know them until they win an event like that. And it's pretty incredible that Augusta is giving them that platform to kind of show off the women's amateur game because there's so much talent there right now, and there has been a lot of talent, and so it's really nice to see them on that stage getting the recognition that they really deserve.
And and for those that don't actually know, like in terms of your career, like you actually made your LPGA Tour of Japan debut at 11 years old.
Hmm.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, like obviously 11 years old, competing in a professional event in a country the other side of the world. Like, what was that
Mhm.
experience like? Obviously, then you must have been like, wow, this is amazing, amazing opportunity as such. And like, what was that experience like? The best?
Yeah, it was definitely a really good experience. I think thinking back now, when you hear 11 years old playing in a professional golf tournament sounds a little crazy. But being the youngest ever to compete over there was a really big honor, and I was very lucky to be invited. Um, it was one of the best experience I had. I have such a love for Japan after being there when I was so young, and just getting to experience a different culture, getting to experience professional golf for the first time, and seeing how those girls operate was really inspiring to me. And I'm just very lucky to have had as many experiences as I did at such a young age.
And in terms of like when the LPG tour goes back to Japan, like
Mhm.
year in year out, I take it Japan always will hold a special place in your heart.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't able to go back to Japan last year because of visa issues, but I did get to go this year, and it was just really cool getting to go back, having some people, even like fans, kind of remember me from when I was younger. And it's just always a really good experience. I love getting to experience different cultures, and even experiencing different tours, how they do things over there. I think it's so fun, and that's one of my favorite things about being on the LPGA Tour is just getting to travel and experience different places that I probably would never see if I weren't playing professional golf.
And again, at a very early age, you made your LPG Tour debut as well in 2018 at the Thornberry Classic.
Mhm.
Um, like even at that young, 13 years old, like competing against, like some of the best players in women's golf.
Mhm.
I imagine that was like that must have been, in one hand, a weird experience, but at the same time, like an overawing experience in terms of like some of the names you're competing against.
Yeah, I like I said, I was just very lucky to get the opportunities that I did. The sponsors that gave me those opportunities are a big reason why I am the player that I am today, and the reason that I made the decision to turn professional at 17. I mean, I'd just been playing in the professional game for so long and loved it and love everything that pro golf is about. And yeah, getting those experiences were crucial for me deciding what I wanted to do in my career and also being ready to do what I wanted to do in my career.
So in terms of before turning pro at 17 years old,
Yeah.
what was there? Was there any opportunities, of like, colleges, university experience? What was any of that like? Was any of that talked about before you made the decision to turn pro in 2022?
Yeah, I definitely looked at colleges a lot, and I just think it's such an individual decision and doing what was best for me. There was nothing wrong with college golf. There's so many amazing programs out there. And for some people, it's where they really get better and thrive and get ready to be on the LPGA. My team's personal decision was that it was best for me to turn pro at that point, and for what I wanted to do at what time I wanted to do it. I've always, from a very young age, I knew who I wanted to be, and I just wanted to get right to that. Um, and so it was really just a personal decision, as I think it is for everyone who goes through golf and having a career in it or whether or not to.
Yes, and then so when you turn professional, you end up getting some tour status on the Epson Tour.
Hmm.
Talk us about the kind of like first year as such on the Epson Tour. Like how vital was the Epson Tour? Like how vital was that in terms of like your development, and then obviously what leads you on to what will be what will be some of the challenges on the LPGA Tour, etc. Do they properly give you the right guidance into what's going to happen in the LPGA Tour?
Yeah, I'm very grateful for my time on the Epson Tour. I think it was a really good stepping stone for me to get ready for the LPGA Tour. I learned a lot that year. I had a lot of fun, met a lot of new people. Um, and it was just a really good experience, and I don't think I would have been the winning on the LPGA Tour the next year if it weren't for my experiences on the Epson Tour. So definitely very grateful for that and wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah, and then so we'll talk about 2023. So you end up getting your LPGA Tour card in 2023. Did you ever imagine at the start of 2023 when you did gain your tour card that fast forward into the middle of 2023 that you would get your first professional victory in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I think I turned pro for that reason, that I thought that I could go out and immediately win on tour. So I don't think that was unexpected for me. I think more what was unexpected was kind of the struggles that came at the beginning of being on the LPGA Tour. I think I thought the adjustment would be really easy, but it was definitely very hard. You realize how good the players are out there, how tough the courses can be, adjusting to being on tour and traveling full time. There's a lot of things you have to get used to, but I think I knew always deep down that I'd figure it out and find a way to get that win. So um, it was honestly just a lot of trusting the process and sticking to my game plan, trusting my game, and kind of knew that would be the outcome if I did.
Yeah. And then in terms of that week, you end up being Esther Henseleit and Gabs Cowley in a playoff at Galgorm Castle. Um, and I believe was that your first time playing links golf, like as a professional as well? Is that right?
Yeah, so we only played one day on the links course, and that was my first time ever playing links golf. It was a really good experience. I played pretty terribly the first day. I mean, actually, I played better than I scored, but I just remember my score being bad the first day. But that whole week, I felt like my game was in a really good place, and the next course that we played the next 3 days was not quite as linksy, which was really nice for me. And I definitely felt a lot more comfortable on that golf course, but still, a lot of knowledge gained from playing on the first links course.
Yeah, and like in terms of like having to adjust to the different factors of links golf, so it could be especially in Northern Ireland as well. Like of course you're gonna get the wind, you're gonna get the rain at some point. It's just
Yeah.
what happens over there. So how difficult was it to kind of acclimatize as such to all the potential factors that could happen?
Yeah, I think you kind of just have to grit your way through it. I don't remember the weather being too much of an issue for me. I don't know. It wasn't too miserably cold, and I am used to playing in the rain, so I didn't really mind that. So it really wasn't all too bad for me. It was mainly just that first day getting used to kind of the links golfness of it because I hadn't experienced that much before. But other than that, didn't really mind the conditions over there.
And sorry, I do apologise. That's just the coughing coming out. Um, also like also when you go over to like Northern Ireland, um, also how difficult was it to in terms of like the accent and the language, like how difficult was that to kind of grasp, like going over there and stuff like that? Like what was it
Yeah,
difficult for yourself?
it's definitely very different. I think we have so many caddies on the LPGA tour with accents that I don't have an issue kind of deciphering it, but it's very fun going over there, experiencing new things. Even kind of the towns are quite different, different foods and whatnot. So I had a really good time over there. Ireland definitely didn't have my favorite foods, but Scotland was a little better. We had at St. Andrews, we had some really good eats, and I loved the town of St. Andrews. I thought it was so fun, and I just love getting to experience different places, so I had a really good time there.
What was so bad? Sorry, what was so bad about the Irish food in general? Was it just not up to your
Um,
standard and such?
I honestly don't really remember. I just remember not liking it. Like maybe there wasn't like a ton of options. I think we only really had a few restaurants in that town, but I don't remember exactly what it was. I just remember all I really had after I won was like pizza because that was just kind of the safe bet.
Well, pizza in Ireland.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic way.
Yeah.
Um, so um, so it's important for the listeners to know that obviously all the way through your professional career, you've had your dad right by your side as well as your caddy. How
Mhm.
how kind of crucial has he been for yourself? And in terms of like obviously with it being your father on the bag as well, like sometimes do you find it hard to kind of like get that balance between obviously you've got your parent and then you've got the professional side as well? Is that hard at
Yeah.
all? Like,
I think he's just been caddying for me for so long now that we kind of have figured that out to a certain degree. I wouldn't say it's always sunshine and rainbows, but I don't think it will be that way with any caddy. Um, but yeah, it was super great having him on the bag for my first win and then my first couple seasons on tour. It's been very helpful. He's basically kind of like a manager for me. He does everything when it comes to travel arrangements and whatnot. So I'm very lucky to have someone as supportive as him in my corner doing so much for me, and also just kind of having a caddy that just knows my game so well was really helpful the first couple seasons on tour.
and then and then obviously when you get the win is in Northern Ireland, like in terms of your father being a caddy as well, like
Mhm.
that week, like when you collected the trophy, like was there any sort of emotion? Obviously, his baby girl like basically won the golf tournament. I take it there was a few emotions there.
Yeah, I think it was just a really exciting moment for us. I honestly, I just remember that whole week being one of the most fun weeks we had on the bag. Like, there wasn't a lot of pressure. It was my birthday, so we were just kind of joking around. I was coming from behind to win, so we weren't ever really talking about the lead or winning at all. We were more just kind of enjoying the day, and I just so happened to shoot a really low score, so there wasn't a lot of tension or anything. We just had a lot of fun. He made a lot of jokes, and that was very helpful and helped keep the nerves at bay. So I don't know, it was just a very fun experience. I don't remember being super emotional, but more just, it was more kind of the best feeling.
I've I've noticed something about your career that you seem to love to play around about your birthday. What's that all about? Like it just seems to be you got the win on your birthday in Northern Ireland, and then
Mhm.
obviously at St Andrews as well for your birthday week, you were right in contention at the well one of the most prestigious events like
Yeah.
in the world. Um, what is it about like what is it about like kind of like your birthday week? You seem to like just love it. Like,
Yeah,
is there a specific reason, or is it just?
I'm honestly not really sure. I don't know, 'cause this year we played at Troon and I had a really bad week, and then the next week was my birthday and then I played great. So maybe it's just something about that week. I hope it kind of continues that way because it's worked out really well for me, but I'm honestly not sure. Hopefully it's just a luck thing that continues.
So going forward, every time it's like the week of your birthday, it's either going to be a top five or top 10, basically. So,
Yeah, hopefully.
um, so in terms of so actually we'll speak about St Andrews like while you were on it actually. So the week of St Andrews, obviously for the AIG Women's Open, that was an incredible test for that week as
Yeah.
well. So I was actually there as a spectator for 2 days, and then even I was getting swept away by the wind, battered by the wind, like the rain. 4 seasons in one day, as such.
Yeah.
Um, was that some of the most difficult conditions that you've had to play in as a professional so far, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely up there. I honestly, it was pretty brutal. I remember the final day being some of the worst conditions I'd ever played in. But you just kind of have to ignore it, I think, and just focus on your game, and that's kind of what I did. I tried not to let it affect me too much, and I've always told people that I'm not a cold weather golfer, but I've somehow had my best finishes all in the cold, rain, and wind. So, I don't know, just something about that weather and the ability to be creative on the golf course is something I really enjoy, and I think that's something I really loved about St. Andrews was being able to have more of a creative brain and hit a ton of shots that you wouldn't traditionally hit. Um, and also playing the wind to kind of your advantage, whether it was hole 18 is a green that I would never really drive, but with the downwind, I was able to on the third day. And there's different holes that I probably wouldn't have hit a certain shot into if it weren't for the wind. So it was honestly really fun to be creative and try different things that I wouldn't traditionally do.
So, so in terms of going forward, would you say that you've become a fan of links golf as such,
I hope so.
like style as such, or?
I really do hope so. When we played that first week at um Dundonald Links for the Scottish Open, I really hated it. But then I played really well the next week at St. Andrews, and I think I like it. But we'll see. I don't know that that weather will ever be enjoyable for me, but definitely a step in the right direction.
And what was it like? What was it like to be right in contention on the Sunday of a major championship? Like obviously, probably by your own assessment, it didn't go as according to plan as what you hoped
Mhm.
for. But like in terms of that, like learning experience going forward for future majors, like how was that like experience in general?
Yeah, obviously I would have loved to come through with the win, but things just kind of didn't fall in my direction that day. I still felt like I played really solid, and it was just such a good experience for me. I think I played with Lydia the final day, and getting to see her win up close and personal was, I think, one of the best wins I've ever seen, and just the way that she finished out that round was incredible, and I don't think people really talk about that enough, how difficult it was in those conditions, but also just how she played. And I got to learn a lot from watching her game, and I don't feel like I've said that playing with a lot of girls on tour that I've like learned something from their game, but she's truly phenomenal. And I saw her hit some shots that day that I was like, okay, I need to go home and practice that because she's just so good. And I think what's even cooler is how good of a person she is. And um every time I played with her, like there's no nerves because she's just so polite, and it's just a fun day with a friend that just so happened to be the final round at the Open.
Yeah, and in terms of Lydia being like the ultimate role model as such for the LPGA Tour. Like how much of a role model would you say she is to yourself? Like in terms of like learning learning about about the different kind of ways to in terms of that week, the different ways to win a golf tournament, etc. Because it was never going to be the Bunny Fest so, some of the golf tournaments, are between 15 and 20 under, and that was never going to happen. So in terms of learning that way, in terms of the way she, she's won 21, 22 times now, I think.
I'm not
So
sure.
22.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I think growing up, I always thought Lydia Ko was a very good player and always kind of had an appreciation for that. But I think I have a newfound respect for her after being able to play with her on tour and being in the final pairing with her 2 times where she's won. I think I definitely have such a respect for her and her game and how she is as a person, and definitely something I want to be like when I'm that many years deep into my career and hopefully one day be able to accomplish everything that she has. That would be a dream.
I mean, you just mentioned there that you've been in the same group. When she's won 2 of her victories, maybe the next time you get the victory, maybe it'll be Lydia, in the final
Yeah.
group, celebrating your win. You never know.
Yeah, we've joked about that a couple times, is that I think after she made the putt on 18 at the British, we were kind of joking around with her about how it had happened twice and that I was her lucky charm, and I was like, okay, next time, I know we're friends, but I need you to be my lucky charm next time. But honestly, it was just both times I played with her, she's played so well those final rounds that I have also played well, so I can't really be mad, and it's kind of just happy for her, and I know my time will come.
Surely if it happened 3 times, that's just it's become personal now after that. If it happens 3 times in a draw.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if I'm lucky enough to be in that position again in a major final pairing with her, we'll see. I don't know if I don't know. Hopefully, if we don't come to that, hopefully next time I'll be winning.
Yeah, sorry, definitely. Yeah. And in terms, in terms of going forward, with that, with that experience now in the majors, I believe you played, every single one. Is that right?
I
Last
did
year.
this year.
Yeah. So in terms of that, you've got that major experience now. You've got that. You've got the kind of way of contending in a major as well. I take it going forward, majors is a major goal for you.
Oh, definitely. I think it's always been a really big goal for me, but um, it was my first time playing in multiple of the majors this year, so it was really good experience to kind of get used to that and get used to playing in contention in a major. But they definitely have a different feeling to them than the regular season events do. So definitely one of my biggest goals is to be hoisting a trophy at one of those at some point in the future.
And if I had to ask you out of the 5, what one would your favourite one be to hold?
Probably the U.S. Open. I mean, I'll take any of them, or all of them, but probably the U.S. Open or the British Open for sure.
Even Evian? Even at the
I love
Evian,
Evian. I think it's such a great event. That was probably my favorite event that I played all year, and I didn't play that well, but I do love Evian, so any of them.
What's your thoughts just going on Evian there? What's your thoughts on the picturesque backdrops and stuff? Does the scenery beat the golf when it comes to Evian as such? You're more a fan of the scenery than the actual golf that week?
I love Evian. I think it's such a great event. The sponsor does a great job of putting us up there, and I think it's such a fun experience being in France. I've been playing in Evian events since I was 12 and 13. This was my first time playing in the actual major, but I love that place. It was, like I said, one of my favorite stops all year.
And so in terms of so in terms of the 22, well, I'm going to talk about the Solheim Cup now. So in terms of the 2026 Solheim Cup, obviously the points list and stuff, like for qualification, I believe started already. Um, would that be one of your goals, like well, main goals, like in the next couple of years, is to obviously try and make the 2026 US Solheim Cup team at Bernardus? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it was a goal of mine to make the team this year, and obviously it didn't go that way, but yeah, definitely one of my biggest goals, and I think I learned it's something you can't really work for. You just gotta focus on yourself and focus on trying to play the best that you can every week, and that kind of comes with it.
So so obviously you played in a couple of junior Solheim Cups yourself. I mean
Mhm.
you managed to win as well. But in terms of like you managed to get that call, say or maybe even you play yourself into the Solheim Cup team, like in terms of that, like the actual professional Solheim Cup team. I take it. What's the kind of feeling going to be like on that first team? I take it you'd be nervous as anything, like that week. Obviously, it means a lot.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure. I hope one day I get to figure out what that feeling is like, but junior Solheims growing up were some of my favorite events. I love playing on team golf for Team USA, so hopefully one day I can tell you what it was like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. You never know. I mean, you just have to have a really good season, don't you? I mean, uh, I'm sure when you win and then you manage to play yourself into 2026. I mean, just judging by watching it on the screen, like the
Mhm.
atmosphere, etc., of Solheim Cups just seems like another level. Like in terms of like the electricity of it. I imagine the nervousness of it as well. Like that's got to be one of the telling factors. But
Yeah.
hopefully one day for yourself, you'll manage to play with.
Yeah, hopefully.
So in terms of so in terms of the 2025 season, is there maybe a couple of maybe short goals that you've got yourself set? Like in terms of maybe, I imagine getting your second win would be probably top of the list, but like anything else?
Yeah, I think right now I'm just focused on being the best golfer I can be. Obviously I want another win next year. Um, but just trying to be the best that I can be, and I know that that will come with it. I've already been there, and just trying to accomplish as much as I can accomplish. I think the season's still a little while away, so I'm just trying to get ready for that first event and trying to prepare to win that and taking it one week at a time, one day at a time, kind of mentality.
And in terms of like the preparation for the start of the 2025 season, is there anything in particular in your game that you've been working on that maybe was struggling a little bit?
Yeah, I've been working quite a bit on everything, but just trying to refine stuff for next season. You can always get better. I think that's what's so great about this game is that you're always working towards something. Perfection's not attainable, so just always working towards that and trying to get a little bit better every day. Um, and like I said, really just trying to become the best player that I could be and maximize potential.
So just gonna finish on like a few questions. So I believe I've got one question from Twitter from one of my followers. So just give me 1 second, I'll load it up. But before I ask that question, actually, so in terms of like your friends on tour, who would you say is your kind of like close-knit group that maybe you travel with or like to spend time with?
Oh, I don't really travel with anyone right now. I have a good bit of friends. I feel like I get along with pretty much everyone, but yeah, we have so many great girls on tour that I just kind of hang out with everyone. I'd say probably Natalia Guseva, Selena Borge, Bianca Pagdanagarn. I just I love so many of the girls. I've grown up playing with Rose Zhang, so I naturally hang out with her a lot. Um, yeah, just I like pretty much everyone. It's harder to find people that I don't like than who I do.
Yeah. And in terms, well, well, in terms of obviously being quite good friends with Rose Zhang as well, does she ever give you like, maybe little bits of like information or different stuff or like maybe little bits of advice like every so often or?
Um, I think our relationship's more personal. I don't feel like we talk about golf that often. I don't think it's
Oh,
like
right,
that
yeah.
with many of the girls on tour. I think we're mostly just yapping about something else, normally not golf.
And like so in terms of like maybe you and Rose or Natalia or whatever, like what would you say you like to talk about like in your spare time? So it could be anything from like music or whatever. So in terms of like the music side of things, what kind of music is it that you kind of enjoy?
Um, I listen to a little bit of everything. I'm on the spectrum of like Taylor Swift to Drake to Zach Bryan, just kind of everywhere. Um, but yeah, I like everything. I'm a big concert goer, so I just like everything.
Oh, a Swiftie fan as well. Oh, oh no. No, I'm kidding. So that Twitter question from what one of my followers was. So in terms of favorite courses and tournaments on the tour that she likes because it fits her eye or your game in particular.
hmm Um,
So in terms of like favorite courses or favorite stop-offs.
so far I'd say I really enjoy obviously Lake Nona. I think that course is incredible. Um, we finish out the year at Pelican Golf Club. I think that's such a good course. It's always in incredible condition, but it's also just a really good tournament course. I feel like every year we play a great course for KPMG. That's also really fun. Um, and I just really love all the major courses. I think they do a really good job on those setups, and I love those kind of like a little bit longer or courses that require a little more creativity, I think are really fun.
And so in terms of Christmas, what does Christmas look like at the Pano household? I take it there's lots of food, there's lots of chit chat, there's lots of like obviously good times, etc. What does a normal Pano Christmas look like?
Um, I don't know, pretty relaxed normally. Um, a lot of cooking for me, but I think we really just watch a lot of football. That's mainly it, like Christmas Day football. That's kind of normally what holidays revolve around, but yeah, it's just nice to be kind of doing something away from golf and kind of like highlights the off season, I guess. So it's yeah, definitely a really fun time.
So so it's you that's got to cook all the food.
Yeah, I really love cooking, but only really in the off season. So yeah, I enjoy doing that when it's not on the road, when it's in the comfort of my own home.
And have you got like a speciality that you like to cook that everybody loves?
Uh, I really enjoy baking, so anything with pies or cookies or something like that, I really like to do.
Oh yes, I've got a sweet tooth as well. Don't worry. um, so yeah, all that's left to say really is thank you. Thank you so much for coming on, Alexa. Like, I know we're both not really feeling too great, so like even just you coming on, it's it's very appreciative. And
Yeah.
all the best when it comes back to Lake Nona in January for the Tournament of Champions, and well, all the best for 2025.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No worries. Like, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I see you.